Hello everyone, a very good afternoon to you. Welcome to Mugello, Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli, race 2 of round 1 of our 2024 season in the Tuscan countryside as this 5.2 kilometer circuit wends its way through the ups and downs. A truly lovely place to be and a great place to start what will be an awesome season in 2024. For the Ferrari Challenge, and when the sun shines, this is what the place looks like. Truly awesome, and delighted that we are kicking off our season here before we move to Hungary and Balaton. Then it's Jerez, Portimao, La Casale, a 3-strong summer tour there before we head off to the Nürburgring, and then of course Imola right at the end of the season. The track temperature is 39 degrees. The air temperature is a beautiful 20, 42% humidity, and 14 kilometers per hour of wind gusting now and again. And what a race we have in prospect. Trofeo Pirelli and Trofeo Pirelli Am to come. And one of those drivers is one Luca Ludwig.
Hello guys, my name is Luca Ludwig. I'm a racing driver for Mertl Motorsport. This track is really special for me. It's one of the most beautiful tracks on the world. If I have to pick just one or two, I would choose the middle sector with Casanova and Savelli. These two corners are very, very special because actually you can take different lines there. There are two alternatives of lines in Casanova. Either you go in very fast and have to reduce the speed in Savelli, or you reduce the speed in the first one in Casanova to get a better exit of the second one. Later on, Arrabbiata. Such an historic place. I remember my dad running there, and so it's very emotional for me. Arrabbiata 1 and Arrabbiata 2, so iconic to drive here. So the first corner is actually very important because there's one of the very rare spots where it's actually possible to overtake someone. This is the reason why turn 1 is always crucial, and especially in qualifying you want to have the perfect braking point to get into a rhythm and to make a perfect lap in the end.
Thanks to Luca Ludwig, who will be going from P3 in our Trofeo Pirelli race. We have a mix of Pirelli and Pirelli Am drivers. The Am drivers, as you can see here, from Herbert to Guys, they have a white strip across the top of the windscreen. Good luck to you, Herbert. And the Pirelli drivers have a red strip across the top of the windscreen. That's how you can identify who is driving in which category of Trofeo Pirelli, whether they are a Trofeo Pirelli driver or a Trofeo Pirelli Am driver. So down there on the grid, it's always a busy place just ahead of the start of the race. There is Max Mugello, and Max Mugello will be going from further down the order than he would like to. But Max Mugello knows very well how to overtake cars, and you can bet your bottom dollar that he will be doing that. He's going from P7 in class, but actually it's P14 overall, so bit of work to do for Max Mugello, one of our Trofeo Pirelli drivers driving for the CDP Eureka competition team. And also down there, lots and lots of other drivers ready to contest, including the man that we've just heard from, Luca Ludwig. And Luca going from the second row of the grid. It's a P3 start for Luca. We wish him well in the race and thank him for taking the time to just explain the track to us. Hendrik Viol, pole position for our Trofeo Pirelli Am driver. Such a quick time in qualifying that he actually finds himself on the third row of the grid. He did a very, very good job in qualifying, and yes, he is the best of the Trofeo Pirelli Am drivers for Scuderia Prague Racing. So it's Go Motorsport and Baron Racing Team going from P1, and don't start, and that is Philippe Baron. The reason I'm saying is don't start, it's Ollie Behrman is with me on the air for the race, and he's already trying to make me laugh too much, which is not fair, young whippersnapper that he is, you know. And we continue looking at the cars down there. Just a minute ago, Ollie, you were down there and you're here already. I mean, talk about a fantastic athlete. You must have sprinted.
Hello, I'm back. I'm surprised I got the call back, actually. But yeah, I was just saying hello to Timo, who of course we were sitting here 5 minutes ago with, and also to Benz, who, like I said yesterday, was my teammate in F4. So he doesn't seem to be driving, this man.
This is Motohiko Isasaki. He's one of our Shell drivers. But what's lovely about the Ferrari Challenge, and I know you've experienced it this weekend, Ollie, is the camaraderie between all the drivers, whatever category in. It doesn't matter. Of course, every driver is a competitor when you're on the track. But actually to have such a nice spirit of friendship off the track, I mean, that's wonderful.
It's actually great to see because, you know, in our level of the sport in F3 and F2, it's a bit less the case, but these guys are, you know, really supporting each other. It's great to see, and
well, we're grateful that you are here, and we'll be hearing much more from Ollie Bierman during the course of the race. Delighted that he has come back from his experience of broadcasting yesterday, which I thought would taint him for the rest of his life. But no, he's come back for some more, so that's great news indeed. We are going to hear from the very boss, the big boss, and that is the head of Global Endurance and also Corsa Clienti with regards to the 2024 season. And of course, this wonderful 296 car that becomes the Ferrari Challenge car for 2024.
We are in Mugello. Yesterday started the new season, the 32nd of the Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli. Has been an amazing race day with a big fighter with our drivers, and I'm sure that today will be exactly the same. This is the six-cylinder, the 296 challenge that we presented last year in the Ferrari finale here in Mugello. And this is a new cycle for our car. In fact, after 7 years, we changed the model, and we are very happy because our customers are very, very happy, and I'm sure that today will be an amazing racing day. Bye-bye.
Thanks very much to Antonello Coletta then, who of course is the architect of so much success in terms of endurance and Corsa Clienti, and of course was the designer of a fantastic victory at the Circuit de la Sarthe just last year in the wonderful hypercar. So there is the man that's going from pole position, Philippe Baron. And alongside Philippe Baron is going to be Timo Glock. It's going to be a very, very interesting run to turn number one, Mr.
And information, I
Yes.
spoke to Timo on the grid, and
Yes.
he actually had a puncture on the way to the grid. So on the rear right tire, he's using the one that he used yesterday, which I'm sure is in a bit of a worse state than most of the other rear right tires on the grid. So that's going to make it a bit more difficult for him, but I think it's going to be an interesting race.
I think it is. And Timo is one of those drivers who I don't doubt you understand that actually if the tyre wasn't there and he was on the rim, he would still propel that car around there like you would not believe.
It's lucky that it came now on the way to the grid rather than lap one, because that would have been
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
an anticlimax.
Okay, stand by then as the Richard Mills safety car takes off. Of course, always a rolling start in the Ferrari Challenge, and we are getting ready to go racing. The 32nd year of this fantastic series, the Ferrari Challenge. Trofeo Pirelli and Trofeo Pirelli Am drivers as they head off to start their formation lap. This is going to be an awesome race. 24 cars ready to hot rock around this 5.2 kilometer circuit. 14 turns, 6 left, 8 right, sector 1. That's a breeze. It only contains 3 turns. Sector 2, 6 turns. Sector 3, 5. I make it sound all really rather easy. And actually, Oliver Beerman, this is a really technical track, isn't it? It's difficult to master. I know it's been hugely successful for you.
Yes, it's one of the more difficult tracks of the season because there's so many combination corners, meaning that the exit of turn 1 leads you straight into turn 2, straight into turn 3, then you've got another chicane of 4 and 5, another triple chicane of 6, 7 and 8, and you know, this basically every corner leading into each other means you have to be thinking really far ahead to maximize the full lap, and that's a technical track.
The grid, Philippe Baron from Timo Glock, from Luca Ludwig, from Bence Valent, Hendrik Viol, best of the AM drivers, then is Jean-Luc Daria, James Owen, Klaus Sibranson, Marco Zanazzi, Franz Engstler, you can see there going from P10. He won the race yesterday. Then it's Hanno Laskowski and Andrew Morrow on the 6th row of the grid. Andrew Morrow, the young British superstar. Danilo Del Favero and Max Mugelli, P13 and 14. Ahead of Laura Villars, very talented young lady, and Angelo Fontana. Herbert Guys and David Akabadze, they go from P17 and 18, ahead of Gianmarco Mazzialetti and Matthias Thoman, before we see Armin Arifpour and Kim Eriksson, P21 and 22, with Ruslan Sadriv and Otto Blank going from P23 and P24, row 12 of the pack. I know you've been around this track in not a challenge car, but a 296 car, and I was waiting for a lift round with you, and you just went off without me. I mean, these 296s, I know you've not driven the challenge car, but you've driven the car around the track. They're awesome, aren't they?
I think if the road car is anything to go by, first of all, look how beautiful they are heading on the track in formation like this. It's so nice to see under the sun. But yeah, I did a few passenger laps with the road car, which is great fun. And I had a smile on my face the whole time. And yeah, if the road cars are anything to go by, these challenge cars are going to be an absolute blast. You know, slick tires, a bit more downforce. That's going to be interesting.
Did the smile on your face have anything to do with the proportion of the rubber that you left in the pit lane?
The pit
Just
lane,
thought I'd ask.
The pit lane, but also a lot of corner exits. I was showing off a bit out there.
Really? Oh, you keep on doing that because we love it. So the cars lining up in grid formation then behind the Richard Mills safety car then, and it's going to be Philippe Baron and Timo Glock going into turn number 1. Potentially side by side. That's going to be really, really interesting. New race duration for 2024. We have 30 minutes plus 1 lap. And, wow, with 24 cars out there on track, the mix of Pirelli and Pirelli AM drivers are ready to do a battle. And so you'll see a marshal on the left-hand side of your screen who will be holding a board up which tells our drivers to put themselves into the side-by-side grid formation. And they will be doing that right now, and you can see that every driver is champing at the bit to get going as they head towards the lighting gantry, which we will throw to the top of the screen so that you can see the lights when they extinguish at exactly the same time as the drivers do. Creeping slowly towards that lighting gantry right now then. Speed increases, and away goes Philippe Baron and Timo Glock, and Luca Ludwig as well. Timo Glock has got the jump here. What a brilliant start from the old campaigner as he goes into turn number 1, and a door mirror goes flying through the air. Don't know whose it was, doesn't matter. But that was a poor start relative for Philippe Baron, who's managed to put himself into P3. Luca Ludwig having got past the number 91 car of Philippe Baron. So it is Glock from Ludwig, from Baron, from Valent, and Hendrik Viol is the best of the AM drivers. These drivers try to shortcut and just go across the curbs a little bit. Philippe Baron is fighting back as yet another door mirror goes off, as we love to see this really, really close, exciting racing then in this, the opening lap. Bearing in mind the tyres are still relatively cold, where strictly speaking you need to get them up to temperature before you try and make too many moves. To heck with that, our drivers say, and we are going for it from the moment the lights go out. And well, Timo Glock then putting it to Philippe Baron. Philippe Baron relegated to P3. He's going to have Bence Valent for company as well, a former teammate of Ollie Behrman. And we will see how he is able to do from that P4 position. Hendrik Viol losing out right at the start to Marco Zanazzi, who is leading in Trofeo Pirelli AM, ahead of Franz Engstler and James Owen and Klaus Sibranson. So Jarno Dahl up to P10. So here then, Timo Glock tentatively, as we heard from Ollie Behrman, who became our pit reporter, really, our grid reporter there. We rather think that Timo Glock has had to use one of yesterday's tyres on the rear of the car because of a puncture going to the grid. So from a grip point of view, presumably, that means he is disadvantaged relative to Klaus Ludwig. Sorry, to Luca Ludwig. Klaus Ludwig, of course, Luca's father, as Timo tries to make the car just a little bit wider here, Ollie.
It's not going to make his life easy, and you can see in these early laps with the older tyre, it's causing him some issues, and it's very tight between the two Germans now heading into turn 1.
I have to say, Luca has almost got this, but was the car getting very skittish under braking there, but Timo controls it beautifully. But for him to have to do this for the remaining 28 minutes plus a lap of this race is going to be a tall order, isn't it?
We could be in for a fun race here. I'm looking forward to this.
If it was anything like our last race, the Covershell race, that was something else. And I really rather think it's going to be. Ferrari Challenge, always, always, always entertaining. The race is being led by Timo Glock ahead of Luca Ludwig. So Timo Glock driving the number 17 car, the number chosen by his children. And Timo then car 17, Luca Ludwig driving in car number 8. Then it is Philip Barron and Benz Valent just on the back of them at the moment. And for Luca Ludwig here, and you've been in this situation, Ollie. It's Luca Ludwig, and that almost plays into the hands of what I was going to say. Do you attack? Do you defend? What the heck do you do here?
Looks like he was attacking. Yeah, you know, these early laps, the cars will move around quite a bit more, and seems like Timo's managed to find some rhythm now and stretch his legs a little bit. I'm sure he won't know that Timo is a bit at a disadvantage, but yeah, seems like the gap is starting to open up now, and even Luca is under pressure from Philip Barron.
Yes, Luca is hunting and being hunted at the same time, and of course Philip Barron has got Benz Valent for company as well. Benz Valent almost up his trumpet. Then Marco Zanazzi and Hendrik Viol. But what we're going to do, we're going to throw in a replay of the start here, and just to see what it was like once again going into turn number 1. Here it comes.
You see a great reaction time from Timo here. It can be either the reaction to the lights going out, or even being in a more favorable gear than Philip Barron was, and yeah, just managed to take the jump straight away. Yeah, no crazy moves needed into turn 1 like there were yesterday.
No. And you've got to be so accurate, haven't you? And just one or two little bits of car flying around from the start, but it's very tight at the start, of course. With,
the door mirrors seem quite vulnerable with these new cars. Should make a business manufacturing those.
Timo then has built up a margin of just under half a second between himself and Luca Ludwig, who for the moment Philip Barron appears to have eased off. And many racing drivers tell me that you know, when you need to overtake the car in front of you, which of course you do, and if it takes you time to do that, if you don't succeed straight away, sometimes it's better off, Ollie, to back off and reset before going again, because to run in even the dirty air behind these cars puts you at a disadvantage.
Yeah, I mean, in these cars, the dirty air, of course, plays a factor, less so than you know, the single-seaters that I'm used to.
Yes.
But the bigger thing is the fact that, you know, following the car in front, you get all of the hot air from the exhaust, from the engine, from the brakes, from the tires. There's no fresh air coming to your tires and to your engine and brakes and stuff, so everything starts to get too hot, and you know, too hot's not good in a race car.
Isn't it irritating when someone's so young who tells you something which is so blooming obvious, and I've never thought about that? It is the temperature of the air, isn't it? You know,
exactly.
Quite clearly. Thank you.
Dropping back, you can kind of reset your tyre surface temperatures, and it's a bit more the case in single-seaters, you know, because the tyres actually get fresh air directly on them. But even with these, you know, closed-wheel cars, it does play a factor for sure.
Thanks, Ollie. So Timo Glock then, he's just set the fastest lap. You would expect him ordinarily to do that because, of course, he is in a position where he's got clear track ahead of him. However, Ollie reports to us that he might have a disadvantaged one of his tyres. He's also got a track limits warning, as too has Luca Ludwig. So the top two drivers have got to be very careful, because you get 3 warnings and then you start to get time penalties applied to you. So you've got to keep it between the white lines, and that becomes ever more difficult, of course, as the race goes on, because tyre degradation then plays a part, and the adhesion that you're looking for is perhaps not going to be the same at the end of the race as it is at the beginning.
Exactly, you know, it's tough to be precise when you have a kind of a moving target of the grip level underneath you, and of course that happens through the race, and especially for Timo with 2 different age tyres on different sides of the car. You know, imagine heading through the chicanes, you've got X amount of grip going through the right-handers and Y amount of grip going through the left, so it must be a strange feeling.
Yes, very fair point. As Ben Spallin now sets the fastest lap. Now, of course, Benz has been racing in Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli. His father was a former racer in the Ferrari Challenge. He's come back into it for this season, so big family aspirations here. And Ben Spallin, the son of Tibor. Tibor was out in the race earlier on and had a very lowly starting position on account of the fact of an off in qualifying. But he made himself back up into the points very comfortably. So clearly, he is a very talented driver, as indeed is his son. Now, Philip Barron is once again stepping up the ante now on Luca Ludwig, which is for P2. So you can see the all-black car of Luca Ludwig. Then it is the red car of Philip Barron. And a few more track limits being warned. Who have we got now? Philip Barron is one of them as well. And leading in Trofeo Pirelli Am is Marco Zanazzi ahead of Hendrik Viol and Klaus Sebranson. So the top four, as you can see, centre picture, have broken away a bit from Marco Zanazzi, who's one of our Trofeo Pirelli Am drivers. And Timo Glock seemingly got everything pretty much under control at the moment. Of course, for Timo, the best thing that can happen for Timo is for Philip to really start attacking Luca Ludwig, because that allows him, Timo, just to stretch his legs a little bit more out in front. He's got a margin of 6/10 at the moment, which is nothing but a click of the fingers, so that can disappear very, very quickly.
Yes.
Block from Ludwig.
And by the same token, Philip has just set the fastest lap if it wasn't for the track limits infringement. So that's 3/10 faster than Timo last lap. So
He's got
I
pace
think
then.
I would like this order if I was Timo. I'd like Luca to be the cork in the bottle at the moment.
Of course. And there is our race leader then. He, of course, was race leader yesterday, and then picked up a penalty. Picked up a penalty in qualifying as well, and then picked up a penalty in the race. And a bit of a pattern emerging with Timo Glock in his racing career, because he hasn't been unknown to get penalties. So I know I can get away with saying that. He isn't going to thump me. We're on board with Luca Ludwig as Philip Barron looks to the inside now. Brilliant rearward facing onboard shot there. Ollie, that was a bit ambitious, wasn't it?
I don't think that was an intentional move. I think Luca ran wide, and Philip saw his opportunity and went for it. But it's tight racing up there for the second step on the podium.
You absolutely have to have a razor-sharp attention for just a little bit of an opportunity. If it opens up for you, you've got to be there and ready to take it. I'm really pleased we're running with this rearward facing onboard once again, and showing you just how close these cars run together. You can almost feel the vibration of those curbs going through your television screen at the same time. As a bit of a fight going on here as well. You can see the number 80 car of Angelo Fontana and Laura Villas, who is another young, talented driver in the Ferrari Challenge. We saw them momentarily as we go back to Luca Ludwig right now, being chased by Philip Barron, who in turn is being chased by Ben Valint. And big mover in the races, as you can see, in terms of progress. Marco Zanazzi up 4 places and leading in Trofeo Pirelli Am, and Timo Glock leading in terms of Trofeo Pirelli as Luca Ludwig runs a bit wide again, and that just opens up the opportunity to Philip Barron. Is this pressure playing a part, do you think, Ollie?
Yes, I mean, that's twice now that he's run wide in the same corner, so that one is not his friend. Yeah, it's tough after, a little moment. It probably didn't cost him a lot of lap time, but it cost a lot of mental focus. Now he's going to be looking in his mirrors.
Absolutely, and when you start doing that, drivers tell me that that is something of an error of judgment, because you need to be focusing on forward and not backwards, as Philip Barron just shows his face once again to the inside of Luca Ludwig. This is going downhill through the final turn, and then what you don't necessarily see in television is that the Mugello start-finish straight here has got 2 uphill sections to it. And then, if you're very, very brave, you can have a go around turn number 1, dependent upon what your position is coming out of the final turn. You can overtake through turn 1, but you've got to be very brave, haven't you?
Yes, lots of commitment needed. Yeah, the camera doesn't really do justice to the amount of undulation in this circuit, which plays a huge part. And you can see Luca Ludwig trying quite different lines to Philip Barron in the last corner. I don't know if it's on purpose or not, but it leaves him quite open to being overtaken. But on the other hand, he gets a really good run off onto the straight, and so far he's managing to stay ahead.
I mentioned that you can almost feel the vibration of those curbs running through your television screen. When you're in a car, whether it's a single-seater or a fantastic challenge car like this one, I mean, how does that feel on the steering, Ollie?
Yes, of course, you feel it a lot less with these cars. With the F1 and the F2, every single seater you're physically touching the ground when you're running on these curbs because we run so close to the ground.
Yes.
So that hurts a bit more.
Yeah.
But you know, with these ones, they can take those curves quite aggressively, and you see those yellow bananas as well. They're nothing to these big GT cars. It's really nice to drive a GT because you can take all the curves you want. Single seaters, you have to be a bit more careful, but. Yeah, in some corners, like when you're trying to put throttle, trying to put the traction down, those curves can lose you some grip. So you need to kind of manage which ones are usable, which ones aren't.
We have our first time penalty. It is for car number 14, who has picked up a time penalty, and that's Jean-Luc Daria, who is running P5 in class, P9 in the race overall, as once again Philippe Barron shows his face to the inside of the Luca Ludwig car. We ride on board with the Motel Motorsport driver who is running P2 at the moment, Luca Ludwig, and Timo Glock running P1. And yes, the first time penalty that has been awarded to Jean-Luc Daria, the Emil Frey racing driver. So basically you get the first 3 warnings, and on the third warning you get a, on the fourth warning you get a penalty, a time penalty, which is going to put you back down the order. Potentially, so you have to be very, very mindful of that. We've got 16.5 minutes plus 1 lap, as near as makes no difference for this race. And here comes Philippe Barron once again, turning up the wick on Luca Ludwig. And in turn, Philippe Barron has got Benz Valint for company as well. All of that means that Timo Glock is able to maintain that kind of 6-7 tenths of a gap between himself and the P2 driver, Luca Ludwig. So Timo Glock, who's having to draw upon every single moment of his many, many years of racing experience to hold on to this car, and he's doing a good job thus far in so doing, but we've not quite reached half distance in this race, so still a long way to go, and a lot can happen. And one thing about the Ferrari Challenge, which is absolutely guaranteed, a lot will happen before now and the checkered flag, I am sure. It's Glock from Ludwig and Barron, the top 3 in Pirelli. In Pirelli AM, it's Nazi from Viol and Zebranson, who are the top 3 drivers in Pirelli AM. Through these chicanes then, where you carry so much speed, this is a remarkable car, the Ferrari 296. Never before in my many, many years of motor racing broadcasting have I seen every driver getting out of a brand new car with such a smile on their face, as all of a sudden Luca Ludwig has found something from somewhere, as he's really taken it to Timo Glock now as they head towards the turn number 1. Well, Timo Glock really, really protecting that inside line. He's going to make Luca Ludwig work for this. Who's going to be king of the late breakers here? Well, I think it's Glock, to be honest with you, but Luca Ludwig trying to stick it all the way around the outside, which would give him the inside for the next turn. The door, I suspect, will be right royally closed, and it was, as Timo Glock got to hold on. But surely, Ollie Behrman alongside me here, it's a question of if not when, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, Timo's having to work hard today. He hasn't got the advantage that he had yesterday. I thought
you were going to say he hasn't got youth on his side. I'll tell him that.
Well, he doesn't have that either, unfortunately. No, I mean, he's a small mistake in the last corner left him quite vulnerable into the first one. And yeah, it's crazy how quickly it can turn from Luca Ludwig defending from Philippe Barron, and then suddenly attacking the next corner into turn 1 on Timo. And now it's turned again, because it looks like Philippe Barron is going for it again. So no shortage of action.
I think Timo emailed Philippe and said, "Come on up your ante a bit. I need some help here, friend." So yes, Philippe Barron, and that just proves the point, Ollie, as we look at Hendrik Viol and also Marco Zanazzi and Klaus Zebranson, who are the top 3 in Trofeo Pirelli AM. The thing is here that you cannot afford to make the tiniest of mistakes, because these cars are running so close together, they are so competitive, and the drivers are so good that the moment the tiniest error is made, like a viper, you're going to pounce.
Exactly, the level is high here. The mistake is what you're trying to force out of the other drivers. You can see them showing their nose at each other, trying to force a little error, and that error, when it finally does come, is when you pounce.
Yes, we need to have that borne in mind. We've got 13 minutes plus a lap to do in this Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli Race 2 as Benz Valint now wants to join in the party and gets ever closer to Philip Barron. In the meantime, it was Hendrik Viol that started in pole position. Therefore, he wants to wrestle that P1 place back again from the usurper, who was Marco Zanazzi. It's Marco Zanazzi from Hendrik Viol and Klaus Sibranson. Those three drivers running really, really close here. And again, Hendrik Viol is in this position where he's got to try and attack and defend at the same time. And the moment he opens up an attack, if he doesn't make it stick, it means he's vulnerable to Klaus Sibranson. So it can be very, very easily a no-win situation. So he's got to pick his moment very, very carefully on this very, very difficult 14-turn circuit of Mugello. 5.2 kilometers of tarmac, which really test our drivers. And they're driving with such skill and giving us such great entertainment as once again we go on board with Luca Ludwig defending from Philip Barron. This is for P2 in the Trofeo Pirelli race, and indeed in the race overall, as under braking, Philip Barron gets oh so much closer to Luca Ludwig. Luca, of course, can control where he places the car, and Philip has got to try and anticipate where Luca is going to put it. They carry so much speed through that chicane, absolutely fly through there. Timo Glock with something of a hallowed existence at the moment, because the more they're fighting behind, the more he's able to escape up the road. He's going to have traffic on him very, very shortly and have to negotiate his way around some back-marking cars, the likes of Armin Arapor and Ruslan Sadriv. And here they come then, crossing the timing line now. And Benz Valint is flashing his lights furiously in the hope of just distracting Philip Barron from his P3 place. Ain't going to happen, is it?
Yeah, I mean that's the tactic I use on the sim when I'm racing GT cars.
Oh, I
I'm
see.
flashing my lights the entire race to try and put them off. But I think on a real track it doesn't work that well. I think here when the back markers do eventually arrive, this could be where Timo makes the difference and can make a gap with his experience in F1 and of course GT racing as well. I think he should be able to clear these back markers quite efficiently.
Yes, I think you're right there. The gap opens up for Timo and for the rest of the drivers. I have to say, for those back-marking drivers, healthy respect to them for making way. I mean, that's
really important.
Really, really important. I mean, the thing is, in the Ferrari Challenge, you have this situation where, of course, you have got some drivers that, you know, unfortunately are going to be they're going to be back markers. But oh, this was Hendrik Viol then and Klaus Sibranson.
We're going to lose another door mirror. Oh no, he's already lost it actually.
Yes, it wasn't there to begin with. Here they are.
They're both missing a door mirror.
Absolutely side by side. I mean, absolutely fantastic stuff from them. Yeah, no, the healthy respect that these drivers have for each other is brilliant. Of course, they're all competitors and they all want to be the fastest and move up a place. And actually, when it comes to backmarking drivers, you know, but as we've said many, many times before, depending upon where you come upon the traffic on the lap can make it more damaging or not damaging in terms of your lap time and how you can place your car. But you can't make your car disappear. It's going to be on the track.
Yes, it's lucky that they're so close together that they pretty much, you know, got through all of the back markers at the same time. As we see Timo defensive and a bit of rear locking. He's really stopping it on the apex there to try and not let Luca up the inside. Some really good defensive driving. He
is using every bit of his many, many years of racing experience, isn't he, to hold on to this, because now Luca Ludwig is really stepping it up, and so too is Klaus Sibranson. And Hendrik Viol has managed to get by Marco Zanazzi. And Hendrik Viol nearly losing the back end of the car, but fair play to him, he's got it back again. And he now leads in terms of Trofeo Pirelli Am. There is the number 88 car. And this is an awesome Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli race. As once again, Timo Glock is able to open up just a little bit of a margin as Klaus Sibranson has now picked up a time penalty. Now this is critical because Klaus Sibranson is running P3, and James Owen for Meridian Modena Engstler. James Owen, this could be fantastic news for James Owen, who could be picking up a P3 place here effectively, because car number 89 is going to have a time penalty applied. That was a bold move by Hendrik Viol, but he was absolutely determined and committed to it.
He was committed to it. He saw that gap and he was not letting anyone else take that. Very nice move on the inside.
Now, I don't wish to be the bearer of cautious news, but Timo Glock has received what I think is the first track limits warning.
Oh yeah, as has Luca Ludwig. So they're
now
following each other around the track, actually. Exactly.
Surely, Ollie, I don't make a lot of sense, as you've come to realise now. I don't make much sense at all, but this has got to, quite clearly, the tyres are not going to be the same now as they were at the start of the race. Therefore, to try and keep it within the white lines now becomes ever more difficult, doesn't it?
Exactly. The clock's counting down, and you can see lap by lap, especially when you're fighting as well, it really hurts the tyres. When you're side by side going into turn one, trying to outbrake each other, you just put that extra bit of energy on the tyres. And
just when you thought you couldn't get any more drama into this race, we have 2 5-second time penalties, and who are they being awarded to?
the first two drivers.
The first 2 drivers, Timo Glock and Luca Ludwig, are both picking up 5-second time penalties, which actually probably makes Philippe Barron very, very clever here. Because, of course, you know, where's he running? Third.
I think. I mean, it's great to win a race on track, but he can kind of sit back and relax now because he clearly has a pace advantage. He's just stuck behind these two. But considering they both have a penalty now, I would just stay completely in the middle of the track, stop touching any curbs if I was Philippe Barron.
Because, forgive me, and I'm sure this didn't go through Philippe Barron's mind at all, but strategically, if you really, really attack the driver in front of you, you're encouraging to exceed the track limits, aren't you? And you know that he's potentially going to pick up a penalty. They'll have been on the radio and told Philippe that. So right now, you're right. He can calm down, can't he?
Yeah, exactly. Just stay within 5 seconds, but it looks like he can do that fairly easy. Yeah, Timo forgot his own advice because last race he was he was mad at everyone for doing track limits. And yeah, it's so hard around this track. With these GT cars, it's really hard to get them, sit really far back, and obviously on the left side as well. So it's kind of hard to see exactly where your wheel is with these flat cars. It promotes track limits, unfortunately. As we're side by side again into turn one.
They're still having a go, isn't he? And what's really interesting is because when we come
this is the fight for the podium in the end.
Yes, it is.
Between Luca and Timo. They're fighting for P3, I guess.
Yes. And the thing is, we talk about track limits. Normally it's track limits on the outside, isn't it? But actually here it's the inside going into turn 4. That's where most of the drivers have really gone for it, as Luca Ludwig is continuing to go for it. But absolutely, you're right, which will be the final step on the podium potentially.
Yes. You see these yellow bananas, and in a single-seater they would, I think, flip the car. but here in the GTs, they eat them for breakfast. So yeah, they don't really care about those, and that's where the track limits penalty comes, because of course it's a bit faster, and yeah, it's have to be precise. You see how much Timo's sliding around now on that.
Yeah. Luca has just picked up another warning. Oh, as a round has gone. Oh, a very, very good avoidance there from Herbert Guys. The spinning car in front of him, and he did so well to avoid that. I think it was David Akabadze that went round. And there you can see the image of the Cologne Carnival on the bonnet of his car. In the meantime, it's racing resumed right at the start of the pack, or right at the front of the pack of the Ferrari Trofeo Pirelli drivers, between Timo Glock and here we can see.
Fighting hard, dirty side of the track.
David Akabadze.
A bit of contact.
Oh yes, David Akabadze in the all-yellow car.
He's kept his door mirror though.
He's just caught the corner, didn't hit the car ahead of him, and round and around.
Yeah, small contact with big consequences. Luckily, he's managed to. Looks like, oh my gosh, side by side again in 21. This has been a really interesting race so far.
Do you know what? I have to say, Ollie, I have immense respect for every racing driver, as mowing the lawn now is Luca Ludwig, trying to hold on to this. Timo has let him go because Timo surely will come good again here. Luca is just doing everything he can, throwing everything at this race, bar the kitchen sink. And you can see various bits of panel work. And Luca then, he does get by Timo. However, whether that will be looked at, whether it will be looked at, I'm sure, by race control, because he was certainly having to take to the grass. There will be an argument that, well, I didn't have racing room, I had no alternative, but to avoid a collision, I had to do that. Save the gardener a bit of work tomorrow, I suspect, but it is now Luca Ludwig on track that is leading Timo Glock, and then it's Philipp Barron and Ben Svalint. So with under 3 minutes remaining plus a lap, we can see that race control have given another warning to car number 8, which is Luca Ludwig. You can see the little track limits. I mean, we've got the control screen here, the timing screen here, which shows the little orange. It's almost like a meatball flag, isn't it, with a TL in the middle of it, which does not mean tender loving it. It's track limits. So, but this just proves the point that you were making, Ollie, and that is that Timo nursing that car, and look what a lead that Luca has been able to stretch. Now he's got past that cork in the bowl.
Yeah, and this could play into his hands here if he doesn't get another 5 second. Oh, he just got another 5. He actually got a 10 seconds. So.
Yes, it's cumulative, isn't it?
I'm going to eat my words. He's got a 10-second penalty. I was going to say without that he could have stretched out a gap that much if Timo continues to defend like he's doing.
Benz is upping his game as well now.
Yeah, Benz looks like he's gonna fight for it as well. He's Luca Ludwig. His track limits continues in turn 4, but he's finally been released from Timo, and now he's stretching his legs.
Okay, well, hold on to your hats, everybody, because this race ain't done. And still quite a lot can happen here. So Luca Ludwig's penalty has been enhanced and increased, and quite how that will pan out for the final result. We have to tot up all the various time penalties that are going to be awarded, and I think the one driver that has kept it in the white lines for the entire race has been Philipp Barron, who of course will be the big beneficiary here, as Luca Ludwig again really struggling to keep that car on the tarmac.
Yeah, he's pushing. I don't know if they consider track limits there, but that was definitely another one. But yeah, no, he's going for it, and it seems like he's not actually got such a pace advantage anymore, and Timo's kind of found a bit of a rhythm again. But you can see how much he's sliding around the track there. It seems like a matter of when rather than if.
The incident involving car 17, Timo Glock, and car number 8, which is, of course, Luca Ludwig, is under investigation. That's the incident in turn number 2.
Yeah, I think it was hard but fair, you know.
Yeah.
Timo, he didn't give him, a lot of room, but the thing is, once you start to go on the grass, it almost pulls you in. So all it takes is just touching it, and you're pretty much fully on it after that. I haven't seen the replay yet, but I think that was a racing incident. I mean, he's managed to get past in the end, so I wouldn't be too disappointed.
We have the remainder of this lap plus one more to do before the end of this Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli race, which is being led on track by Luca Ludwig, ahead of Timo Glock and Philipp Barron and Ben Svalint. Leading in the Trofeo Pirelli AMS is, oh my goodness me.
Philipp Barron has just got a penalty for track limit. This is Benz's race now.
You couldn't make this up, could you? The stories that are being told here. Basically, this driver here in the all-red car number 91, has just been given a 5-second time penalty for track limits. Now, I
haven't seen him go out once.
I don't recall seeing warnings for Philipp Barron, but quite clearly we've had our eyes fairly full and hands full of other things going on.
Timo's shenanigans.
Yes. So you're absolutely right, Ollie, that Ben Svalint is going to be the big beneficiary here. Ben Svalint is running P4 at the moment, and the story continues to be told. Hendrik Viol from Klaus Branson and Marco Sanazzi are the top 3 on track in Trofeo Pirelli, and bear in mind there are some penalties to be issued there as well. So this ain't going to be over until the cars have crossed the timing line. The timing screen has adjusted itself, taking into account those Damoclesian sword penalties that are going to be applied to some of our drivers. Fair play to each and every driver that we've seen. They have driven such a hard race. And Timo Glock continues to draw on all of his years of experience to try and hold on to this, as Philipp Barron now tries to come by. They go side by side. Could this be yet another mirror into the collection of Ollie Behrman, who's collecting so many of these mirrors? as they are. It's like a drag race into the final lap of this Trofeo Pirelli race as they head into turn number 1. Hugely experienced drivers, Timo Glock and Philippe Barron. Wow, I have to say, Ollie Behrman alongside me here. I mean, there was barely the width of a piece of paper between the two of them.
They were side by side for the entire straight, and it looks like Timo learned from his mistake on the exit of turn 1, because he did not leave a space on the inside now for anyone to sneak in, which, yeah, that was how Luca got past the Vlog before. Yeah, last lap now, it looks like he might be able to hold on to this.
Hendrik Viol continues to lead Klaus Sibranson and Marco Zanazzi. And the margins, which are going to be critical here, Luca Ludwig has built up almost 4.5 seconds.
I forgot that he has 10, actually.
Yeah, it's Luca Ludwig on track from Timo Glock, from Philippe Barron, and then Ben Svalint. Here comes Philippe Barron, just showing his face to the inside of Timo Glock. There is Ben Svalint, who has been as calm and cool as a cucumber. Where the heck did that expression come from? But anyway, he has been, and he's just been running his own race and letting them all fight ahead. And they have, of course, in various guises picked up penalties, and goodness knows I can't remember how many for whom.
I was trying to figure it out, but my maths is not good enough, so we're going to have to wait until they cross the line.
I was relying on you for that. Calculator there, come on. So, no further action for the incident between 17 and 8 in turn number 2, which I think you agree with that.
Yeah, I think that's a good finish.
Here they come then, and Luca Ludwig has crossed the line, but it is Ben Svalint that takes the win from Timo Glock and Philippe Barron. So congratulations to Ben Svalint, who is the race winner. Luca Ludwig taking the checkered flag on track, but because of time penalties, it means Ben Svalint wins the race. Timo Glock takes P2, Philippe Barron takes P3. I feel a bit for Luca Ludwig, you know, because he's dropped effectively down to P4 in class P5 in the race overall. Hendrik Viol wins the Trofeo Pirelli Am race ahead of Marco Zanazzi and Klaus Sibranson and James Owen, and I'm going for a lie down. That was extraordinary.
That was an interesting race. So hard to figure it out when, you know, there's so many track limits penalties, and it must hurt for Luca Ludwig to lose that win on track. But rules are rules. You have to stay within the white lines, and you get punished if you don't.
And do you know what? Luca accepts that. Do you know, they're all racing drivers that know that. I mean, and sometimes you feel that it's unjust. And Timo would be the first to say that, you know, he's argued more than 1 or 2 penalties in his racing career, but you're right. Rules are rules, and the one thing about one of many things about the Ferrari Challenge is the fact that the rules are applied to everybody, and it's firm, but it is utterly fair as well. Well done to Ben Svalint. To my knowledge, I'm wearing the cogs of my Ferrari Challenge memory, which, having been involved in this series for now 15 years, which was told
as old as me.
It was all right. No need to rub it in. It was told to me this weekend. Yeah, I'm just working through. So there is Philippe Barron then, who gets a podium out of this, a P3. I have to say Timo Glock is richly deserving of his P2, because
That was a hard-fought race.
I'd like to have a look at that tyre.
Yes, I think you'll see the cords underneath.
I think this is Ben Svalint's 2nd win in Ferrari Challenge.
Is that his first win in the Trofeo Pirelli class?
No, he's done it before. He's going to be.
I'm sure it feels just as good as the
Oh,
first
of course. Yeah, of course.
I'm happy for him.
So out of the car, Andrea there from Rosso Corsa, ready to congratulate him. Ben Svalint, well done. He takes the win. And when the family, girlfriend, and everybody else are congratulating you, it makes it feel really special. Well done to Hendrik Viol. And Hendrik Viol, a fine driver for Scuderia Prague. And I have to say, in the paddock, some of the liveliest engineers and teams around the Scuderia Prague garage. Ivo Horn is the team principal, and yeah, I'm delighted for Hendrik Viol. Really delighted for him.
Hugs all around.
Yeah.
That's racing. That's really nice to see. And there's Marco Zanassi, who picked up second after the penalty. That's cool. Hopefully I'll give him the trophy on the podium.
Are you giving him the trophy?
I'm going to try. I'm going to run away and not get the...
I just want to say then, on behalf of everyone, it's been a real privilege to work with you this weekend, Ollie. Thanks for taking time to be on the air with us, and thank you.
Thank you for having me. It's been a great pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ollie. There's an exhausted-looking Philip Barron. Thanks once again to Ollie Behrman then. Absolute star. Really, really appreciate it. Take care. Ben Svalin takes the win from Timo Glock and Philip Barron. Then it's Luca Ludwig, Franz Engstler, Max Mugello and Jean-Luc Daria. That's the way it looks in terms of Trofeo Pirelli, the Race 2 classification. What a race again. This has been awesome stuff today. In terms of Trofeo Pirelli, it's Hendrik Viol's first win. It's richly deserved. Well done, Hendrik. And he's ahead of Marco Zanazzi and Klaus Sibranson. So well done. The rest of the order that you can see there as well. Thanks again to Ollie Behrman then. Brilliant job he's done on the air, and it's been a real privilege to have him with us on the air, and we wish him continued success in Formula 2. And of course, I think we all know where it's going after Formula 2. Good luck to you, Ollie. Right, all the drivers huddled together there. They will be ushered up to the podium, and we will be hearing from our race winner, Ben Svalin, next.
Exciting with all the penalties and everything.
Ben, it's a very particular race. Congratulations from P4 to P1. A race with a lot of track limits, but you managed a perfect race with your strategy, and you did a very good work with your team. And during the race, you stay alone from all the risk on the track.
Well, yeah, it was a really exciting race with all the penalties, although we couldn't overtake. We managed to stay on track for the whole race, which in the end got us the lead. I'm really happy overall. I think the team did the best, and yeah, I'm thankful for the team and also Ferrari Budapest, as well as also Corsa for providing the best car in the race, I think.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
I think that's replicated by a number of drivers. An absolutely awesome car. Up next, we will be hearing from Hendrik Viol from Scuderia Prague Racing, his first race win in Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli Am. We'll hear from him next.
Congratulations, a very tough race today in Pirelli Am. Can you tell us more about your strategy and your feelings to be here now?
Yes, indeed, it was a tough race. Well, the strategy was all over not over pushing the tires at the beginning, since it's very hot today, and that they maintain until the end to keep our position. So in the end, it went well, even though I had a lot of pressure from Klaus. But today we managed it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, grazie.
Well done, Hendrik. Well done. So let's take a look at the highlights of that phenomenal Trofeo Pirelli and Pirelli Am race. Wow. Okay, we'll bring you the full classification in due course, and here are the Drivers' Championship points now. Ben Svalint leading going into his home race in Balaton. 29 points for Ben Svalint. Timo Glock is P2 in the points with Franz Hensler P3, ahead of Philippe Baron, Jean-Luc Daria, Luca Ludwig and Max Mugello. They are the Trofeo Pirelli Drivers' Championship points. For the AM drivers, it's Klaus Branson leading Hendrik Viol by merely 1 point, who in turn is just 1 point ahead of Marco Zanazzi. James Owen, P4 in the points, Danilo Del Favaro, Andrew Morrow, Herbert Guys. And the rest of the order you can see in terms of the Drivers' Championship points for Trofeo Pirelli AM. Going to be a very, very interesting next Trofeo Pirelli race when the drivers head to the Balaton circuit in Hungary. However, up next here, live, we're going to be going up to the podium to see our race winners. Michele Mambelli then will bring the drivers out onto the podium, and we will see Philippe Baron, who takes P3. Well done, Philippe.
Timo Glock
taking P2, Timo Glock. They had a brilliant race between them. Look at that, lovely handshakes. And well done to Ben Svalent on the top step of the podium. Of course, the Ferrari Budapest will be represented, but first, here comes the national anthem.
Il nostro applauso, our claps for the winners. On the podium, the team Ferrari Budapest Rosso Corsa.
So Ferrari Budapest represented. There's Andrea from Rosso Corsa. And Ollie Behrman as Hotfoot from our TV studio to present the trophies. The Scuderia Ferrari HP reserve driver makes the P3 presentation to Philippe Baron. And Timo Glock, who he was on air with just a few moments ago, with Timo Glock, who hot-footed from the last race, where he was part of our presentation team to go and race. And here's our race winner, Ben Svalent, receiving his trophy from former teammate Ollie Behrman. And Ferrari Budapest Rosso Corsa in receipt, of course, of a trophy as well.
Pirelli Motorsport Manager.
And Lucio Vergani, as always, making the Pirelli presentation as well.
Lucio, Holly, and all the driver on the podium, please.
So all drivers get together on the podium.
All on the first step of this podium. Thank you. For the driver, lift your trophy. Okay.
So big smiles all round.
Race, Trofeo Pirelli, main
what
class,
an
Mugello
opening
circuit.
round it has been for Trofeo Pirelli. Absolutely awesome. Philippe Baron is right on it with the champagne. And Timo Glock not far behind. Top three cars then. Philippe Baron for Gome Motorsport and Baron Racing, the number 91 car. Taking P2, Autohaus Ulrich. And Timo Glock at the helm of the number 17. Second win, to the best of our knowledge, in Ferrari Challenge, and that is the Rosso Corsa Ferrari Budapest driver Ben Svalent, driver of car number 86. His first win coming at Misano last year. Thanks, Nico. Up next, it's our Trofeo Pirelli AM podium with Klaus Branson on top the P3 step. Marco Zanazzi takes P2. And his first win in the Ferrari Challenge for Scuderia Prague Racing, Hendrik Viol.
Il nostro applauso, our claps for the winners.
Well done to our top three in
Podium,
Ferrari
Scuderia
Challenge Trofeo
Team,
Pirelli Am.
Scuderia Racing.
And their podium.
And the trophy presented by Andrea Bertolini, Ferrari official GT driver.
Andrea Bertolini making the trophy presentations on this occasion. First of all to Klaus Zabranson.
For the second driver on the podium.
P2, Marco Zanazzi. And then Hendrik Viol for Scuderia Prague Racing, richly deserving of this first of many, I'm sure, race wins. Well done, Hendrik. Absolutely thrilled for you.
Lucio Vergani.
And Lucio Vergani will make the Pirelli presentation as well.
Andrea Bertolini,
As just after Andrea Bertolini makes the Copa Team presentations to Scuderia Prague. The team led by Ivo Horn, who's allowed one of his team members to go up there and get the trophy. Such is his humbleness. There is such a word.
Hendrik Viol.
And Hendrik Viol receives the Pirelli trophy. Now it's time for the photographs. All smiles with Andrea Bertolini, official Ferrari GT driver, on the podium as well. So well done to all our drivers. A fantastic job done in Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli across this opening weekend, which has been simply awesome. And well done to Hendrik Viol. So relive some of the fantastic moments of this race, and thank you so much for watching from all of us. And yes, we look forward to seeing you for the next Trofeo Pirelli race in Balaton in Hungary. Bye-bye for now.